Good morning. We are looking at Hebrews and doing by faith in Hebrews 11. So here we go with Hebrews 11. Some more of it. Now faith is reality of what is hoped for, the proof of what is not seen. For by it our ancestors were approved. Hebrews 11:1 and 2. By faith, Abel offered to God a better sacrifice than Cain did. By this, he was approved as a righteous man, because God approved his gifts. And even though he is dead, he still speaks through this. And this comes from reference over in Genesis. That was Hebrews 11:4, by the way. Then she being Eve, she also gave birth to his brother Abel. Oh, we got to start over a little bit. Adam knew his wife Eve intimately, and she conceived and gave birth to Cain. She said, I have had a male child with the Lord's help. Then she also gave birth to his brother Abel. Now Abel became a shepherd of a flock, but Cain cultivated the land. In the course of time, Cain presented some of the land's produce as an offering to the Lord. And Abel also presented an offering, some of the firstborn of his flock, and their fat portions. The Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but he did not have regard for Cain and his offering. Cain was furious, and he was downcast. By faith, God gives revelation of what is pleasing in his eyes. By faith, God gives revelation of what is pleasing in his eyes. We don't have anything that says that God said to Abel and to Cain, this is what I want you to give me. I can imagine that they had such a relationship with God and learned that from their parents that they wanted to be able to give to him. Or maybe he required that they have an offering of some sort. But what Cain gave was what his hand had toiled for, what his hand had taken care of. And he gave the first fruits of his, let me check that again though, make sure that I said that right. Some of the lands, it just said that he gave some of the land's produce as an offering to the Lord. He didn't even give the first fruits. It's kind of like doing tithe or not doing tithing. You say, well, let me pay all my bills and let me take care of everything that I have. And then I'll decide whatever I have left over, that's what I'm going to give to God. But Abel was given the revelation that he wanted to give the best that he had to God. The first that he had to God, and not the last. And because he was given that revelation to give the first that he had to God, it was pleasing to God. We can have faith that God will tell us what it is that will be pleasing to him. He will show us what is the pleasing thing in his eyesight. He won't let us just be without that if we're walking with him. We can have that Abel kind of relationship where we can trust that God is telling us this is the very best. And what God asks from us is the very best. And don't we want to give the very best to that one who gave the very best to us? That just kind of makes sense to me. But anyhow, that's our by faith today. By faith, God gives revelation to us about what is pleasing to him, so that we can give to him the very best.